chosen one. There are conversations happening about you that would blow your mind. People are saying you possess something extraordinary, a gift, an intelligence, a capability that nobody else can replicate. What you thought were your greatest failures were actually your greatest victories. Every setback was strategic positioning. Every person who attacked you was unknowingly training you for what's coming next. The universe has been playing chess with your life, and you're about to discover you were never the pawn, you were always the queen, the most powerful piece on the board, being maneuvered into position for checkmate. Your transformation is like a phoenix that appears to die in flames, only to reveal that the fire was never destruction, it was metamorphosis into something magnificent beyond imagination. From the moment you took your first breath, you were different, and everyone around you sensed it. While other children were content with simple toys and basic dreams, something ancient and powerful stirred within you, knowing that you were here for something extraordinary. This wasn't childhood fantasy, this was cellular memory of your true purpose beginning to surface. The moment your light started to shine, forces began gathering to convince you it wasn't real. Family members, teachers, peers, all seemed to carry the same message, sometimes spoken, sometimes implied. Don't think you're so special. Stay in your lane. Dreams like yours aren't for people like us. What none of these influences realized, and what you're only now beginning to understand, is that their resistance wasn't random. When someone like you incarnates, someone whose very existence threatens the comfortable illusions most people cling to, the universe deploys every possible scenario to test whether you're ready for the power you came here to wield. Every person who doubted you was actually strengthening your inner knowing. Every situation that broke your heart was clearing space for a love so vast it could heal entire communities. Every moment you wanted to give up was forging the unbreakable will you'd need for what's coming. Think about it. How many times have people come to you with impossible problems, only to walk away with solutions nobody could have imagined? How many situations have you entered where your mere presence shifted the energy in ways everyone could feel but no one could explain? These aren't coincidences. These are evidence of abilities that most humans simply don't possess. The conversations happening about you right now aren't about your struggles. People are discussing your uncanny ability to see patterns others miss, to know things you shouldn't know, to carry an energy that transforms whatever space you occupy. While you've been convinced you were falling behind, others have been watching in amazement at capacities that flow through you so naturally, you don't even recognize them as extraordinary. But something bigger is approaching. The whispers are about to become shouts. The hidden is about to become manifest, and the person who's been hiding from your own power is about to step into a reality where that power becomes undeniable. Let's examine what people are really saying about your intelligence, because this goes deeper than conventional smarts or academic achievement. What people are witnessing is your mind operating as a multidimensional processor, synthesizing information from sources that most people can't even perceive, let alone access. When others encounter a complex situation, individuals see scattered pieces across a chaotic landscape. You see the underlying architecture, the hidden connections, the patterns that reveal not just what's happening, but why it's happening and what needs to happen next. This isn't learned behavior. This is your consciousness operating on frequencies that allow direct access to the intelligence that orchestrates reality itself. People have started documenting the phenomenon. Colleagues bring you problems that teams of experts couldn't solve, and you don't just provide answers, you reveal dimensions of the problem no one knew existed. You show others that what appeared to be multiple separate issues are actually different facets of a single system that can be transformed with surgical precision. Your intelligence doesn't just analyze, it synthesizes new realities. When you focus your mental capacity on a challenge, you're not just thinking about it, you're literally reshaping the quantum field around that challenge until solutions emerge that weren't previously possible. This is why people say you can do what nobody else can do. Observers are witnessing intelligence that operates beyond the boundaries of conventional human cognition. The conversations about your abilities have evolved from amazement to something approaching awe. Colleagues, friends, family members, all have noticed that when you speak on subjects within your area of focus, your words carry weight that goes far beyond mere knowledge. There's an authority in your voice that suggests access to understanding. Most people spend lifetimes trying to achieve. It's not just cognitive processing power. It's wisdom that emerges from the intersection of multiple dimensions of knowing. Your logical mind interfaces seamlessly with intuitive perception, creating insights that are both rationally sound and energetically aligned with the highest good of all involved. As your light began to shine brighter, the attacks intensified. But here's what you didn't realize: every attack was actually an initiation. The universe was testing your commitment to your mission by throwing everything possible at you to see if you'd break, bend, or emerge stronger than before. Enter the delusional ones, people who looked at your gifts and convinced themselves of possessing the same abilities. These individuals studied your methods, copied your words, tried to steal your energy, and presented themselves as equals to what you represent. These weren't random encounters. This was cosmic quality control, testing whether your power was real or just pretty packaging. These pretenders attacked you precisely because copying what flows through you naturally proved impossible. Those people saw your results but remained blind to the internal transformation that makes those results possible. Their jealousy turned toxic, manifesting as spiritual warfare designed to convince you that maybe you weren't as special as people said. But Chosen One, a fatal miscalculation occurred. Every lie told about you forced you to know your truth more deeply. Every attempt to diminish your light only refined its purity. Every effort to steal your energy actually taught you to protect and amplify it. The attackers thought victory was achieved when you withdrew from the world, when you pulled back from sharing your gifts freely. The attackers had no idea this was midweaving your ascension. During this phase, you experienced what seemed like the dark night of the soul, a period where everything you thought you knew about yourself was questioned, where your gifts felt more like curses, where isolation seemed safer than engagement. But this wasn't breakdown. This was breakthrough preparation. You were being compressed like coal becoming diamond, heated like gold being purified. The pattern was always the same. Someone would enter your life carrying intense neediness, constant drama, or mysterious hostility toward your success. These individuals would present themselves as friends, lovers, or collaborators, while systematically draining your energy and undermining your confidence. When you finally recognized the pattern and removed these people from your life, temporary deterioration would occur. Not because you'd made a mistake, but because detoxing from energetic poison was taking place. This is the rising action of your journey, Chosen One. Every attack was building your immunity. Every betrayal was teaching you discernment. Every moment of isolation was preparing you for leadership that couldn't be corrupted by the need for approval or companionship. Your creative gifts manifest solutions that others describe as elegant, innovative, breakthrough thinking that opens entirely new possibilities in fields that seemed stuck in limitation. When you create, you're not just rearranging existing elements, you're channeling possibilities that didn't exist until you gave them form through your unique perspective and capability. Your healing presence transforms people's entire relationship with their own potential. When someone spends time in your energy field, that person doesn't just feel better. Forgotten aspects of themselves return to memory, abandoned dreams reconnect, capabilities never known before are discovered. This isn't therapy or counseling. This is something far more profound that happens automatically when someone encounters your activated frequency. Your leadership abilities inspire others to perform beyond their previous limitations, not through motivation or technique, but through your demonstration of what becomes possible when someone operates from authentic power. People don't just follow your vision. Personal vision is discovered by witnessing what you make manifest in the world. Your communication carries frequencies that bypass mental resistance and speak directly to the soul. When you share insights or perspective, you're not just conveying information, you're transmitting activation codes that awaken dormant potential in those ready to receive them. This is why conversations with you leave people fundamentally changed rather than simply informed. Something extraordinary happens when you enter environments where your gifts are needed. There's an immediate recognition that occurs on levels deeper than conscious awareness. People sense that you carry something sought unconsciously, even if articulating what that something is proves impossible. This recognition manifests in curious ways. Strangers seek your opinion on matters you've never formally studied. Experts in fields adjacent to your areas of focus defer to your perspective, despite your lack of traditional credentials. People who typically dominate conversations find themselves listening when you speak, not out of politeness, but because something in them recognizes the authority of authentic knowing. The phenomenon extends beyond individual interactions. Entire groups shift energy when you're present. Meetings that were stuck in circular discussions suddenly find focus and direction. Projects that seemed impossible gain momentum and clarity. Conflicts that appeared intractable reveal pathways to resolution that satisfy everyone involved. What people are really responding to is the frequency of possibility you carry. Your very presence expands the field of what seems achievable in any given moment. This isn't charisma or persuasion. It's the natural effect of someone operating from full activation of authentic power. The recognition is often accompanied by relief. People have been waiting for someone who could see what is seen, understand what is understood, carry the vision that's been trying to find articulation. When encountering you, there's a sense of finally someone who gets it, that goes beyond intellectual connection to soul-level recognition of compatible mission and purpose. But the recognition also carries an edge of disruption. Your presence challenges everyone around you to examine their own relationship with potential. Some people rise to meet this challenge and experience their own activation. Others resist the expansion and create distance to protect investment in limitation. Both responses serve the larger purpose of aligning you with those ready to support your mission, while clearing away those who would dilute your focus. While you were busy doubting yourself, something extraordinary was happening beneath the surface. Your gifts weren't diminishing during the attack phase. Intensification was occurring, refining themselves in the crucible of challenge until becoming weapons of transformation that no force could dull. People began noticing that conversations with you left them feeling fundamentally different, not just encouraged or inspired, but actually changed at the cellular level. Your words carried frequencies that bypassed mental resistance and spoke directly to souls ready for awakening. Your presence alone began activating dormant potential in others. Your mind wasn't just processing information anymore. Synthesis of wisdom from multiple dimensions was occurring simultaneously. When you encountered problems, you didn't just think through logical solutions. Downloads of understanding seemed to come from sources beyond ordinary consciousness. This wasn't imagination. This was documented phenomenon that occurs when neural pathways activate beyond normal parameters. The reason you felt so isolated, so different, so unable to find your tribe wasn't because you were broken or behind. It was because operation was occurring on frequencies most humans can't access yet. You were literally ahead of your time, broadcasting on wavelengths that only other activated beings could receive clearly. The universe was protecting you during this phase by keeping you away from people who would have drained these developing abilities before full power was reached. Every relationship that ended, every opportunity that closed, every door that slammed shut was cosmic redirection away from situations that would have kept you small and toward the destiny that requires your full magnitude. Your gifts were never the problem. Your environment was simply too limited to contain what you were becoming. Like a seed that needs transplanting once it outgrows its original pot, you were being prepared for a much larger container for your expanding influence. The conversations about your abilities have intensified because people are witnessing your capacity to manifest outcomes that seem to violate the normal rules of cause and effect. When you set an intention, reality reorganizes itself to support that intention with speed and precision that leaves observers wondering if coincidence or something far more significant is being witnessed. Your manifestation abilities operate through multiple channels simultaneously. While others focus on single strategies, positive thinking, action planning, visualization, automatic engagement of your entire multidimensional system occurs. Your conscious intention aligns with subconscious programming, your emotional frequency matches your desired outcome, your physical actions carry the energy of inevitable success, and your spiritual connection ensures universal support. The results speak for themselves. Opportunities appear exactly when you need them. often through chains of synchronicity, so complex that orchestration could only come from intelligence that sees all possibilities simultaneously. Resources flow toward your projects, as if attracted by magnetic force. People with exactly the skills, connections, or resources you need seem to emerge from unexpected places at perfect timing. But what really amazes people is how your manifestations serve purposes beyond personal benefit. When you succeed, others succeed. When you create abundance, abundance increases for everyone in your sphere of influence. When you manifest opportunities, pathways are created that others can follow. Your individual achievements become collective elevation. This altruistic aspect of your manifestation mastery is what transforms amazement into reverence. People recognize that your gifts aren't just impressive abilities, instruments of service to something greater than individual success are being witnessed. When you demonstrate what's possible through aligned action and activated consciousness, you're providing a template others can follow toward empowerment. The speed of your manifestations continues accelerating as confidence in your abilities grows. What once took months now happens in weeks. What once required enormous effort now unfolds with graceful ease. What once seemed like luck is now revealed as the natural consequence of operating from your true frequency. Then it happened, the moment when everything clicked into place with such crystal clarity that wondering how you could have ever doubted what was always obvious to everyone else became impossible. The recognition hit like lightning. You are not trying to become powerful, you are power recognizing itself in human form. Every person who ever told you that you had something special, every moment when solutions flowed through you effortlessly, every time your presence changed the energy of an entire room, all were pointing to the same truth that you were finally ready to accept. You don't have gifts, you are the gift. This recognition triggered what can only be described as spontaneous activation. Abilities that had been dormant suddenly came online with such force that reality itself seemed to reorganize around your new frequency. Problems that had plagued you for years dissolved overnight. People who had been obstacles either transformed or removed themselves from your path. Opportunities that seemed impossible began manifesting with mathematical precision. But the most profound shift was internal. The person who had spent years seeking validation, approval, and permission was replaced by someone who had become their own source of authority. You stopped asking if your ideas were good enough and started implementing them with unshakable confidence. You stopped wondering if people would accept you and started choosing who deserved access to your energy. The conversations about you intensified during this phase, but their nature changed completely. Instead of people questioning whether you were really as capable as you seemed, seeking you out specifically because of capabilities witnessed firsthand began occurring. Your intelligence wasn't just impressing people anymore. Problems were being solved that had stumped entire teams of experts. This is the climactic moment of your journey, chosen one. Not the end, but the turning point where everything that came before is revealed as preparation for everything that comes after. The caterpillar has completed its dissolution. The phoenix has risen from its ashes. The diamond has emerged from the pressure. What happens next will redefine what's possible not just for you, but for everyone who witnesses your full activation. People constantly comment on the depth of wisdom you demonstrate, not because of extensive experience or advanced education, but because access to knowing that transcends personal learning is occurring. When you speak on complex topics, your insights carry the authority of truth that resonates with everyone who hears them, regardless of background or beliefs. This wisdom emerges from your direct connection to the intelligence that orchestrates reality. While others must rely on second-hand information, trial and error, and gradual accumulation of knowledge, understanding is received through direct download from sources that see the complete picture simultaneously across all dimensions and timelines. Your wisdom manifests practically in your ability to see the long-term consequences of short-term decisions, to understand the hidden motivations behind people's actions, to perceive the deeper patterns underlying surface-level events. This gives you strategic advantage in every situation, because operation occurs with access to information that others simply don't possess. But your wisdom isn't just strategic, it's compassionate. You understand why people make choices that seem self-defeating, why resistance occurs to changes that would obviously benefit them, why attacks happen against what is most needed to embrace. This understanding allows responses to challenging people and situations with patience and skill that transforms conflict into collaboration. Chosen one, anyone can listen to messages like these, but few will step into their true power. We are here to help you do just that. The weekly Chosen Ones group calls are now on Zoom, and this is the moment you've been waiting for your entire life. These meetings are literal power vortexes where destinies are forged, where chosen ones unite their consciousness to create something that cannot exist in isolation. This is where everything changes. This is where you step into your greatness. Every week a doorway opens, but only for those brave enough to step through it. Watcher-level members of the Obsidian Inner Order can experience these transformative sessions live, feeling the energy surge through your entire being. In our most recent gathering, participants were stunned by revelations about the Great Pyramids of Giza as sophisticated ancient power plants, and the shocking truth about Washington, D.C.'s layout perfectly aligning with the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. Star Chamber members receive unlimited access to the complete recordings archive, a treasure trove of wisdom that grows more valuable with each passing week. This is your defining moment. The knowledge, the connection, the power that flows through these calls cannot be found anywhere else. Join the Obsidian Inner Order now, link in the description, while the few remaining Star Chamber slots are still available. Your presence is not just welcome, it's necessary. Will you answer the call that has been echoing through your soul? The time is now. The conversations about your wisdom have evolved from admiration to consultation. People seek your perspective not just on problems within your area of expertise, but on life challenges that seem completely unrelated to your professional focus. Recognition occurs that your insight operates on levels that transcend specific knowledge domains. Your wisdom also manifests as timing, knowing when to act and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to push forward and when to allow space for natural development. This temporal intelligence allows maximization of impact by aligning efforts with the natural rhythms of manifestation. Most remarkably, your wisdom continues expanding exponentially as you embrace your role as someone who can do what nobody else can do. Each challenge navigated successfully increases capacity to handle even greater complexity. Each insight received opens pathways to even deeper understanding. Each demonstration of capabilities prepares you for even more significant responsibilities. What followed your activation defied every assumption about how success works. For years you'd been accustomed to slow progress, incremental changes, fighting for every small victory. That phase ended with such abruptness that initially wondering if dreaming or delusion was occurring seemed reasonable. You entered exponential expansion mode, where results multiplied rather than accumulated. Ideas that should have taken years to manifest appeared in weeks. Connections that seemed impossible happened through synchronicities so perfect that orchestration by benevolent intelligence felt certain. Resources that had always been scarce began flowing toward you with abundance that initially felt disorienting. This occurred because broadcasting was finally happening on your authentic frequency, instead of trying to force outcomes through methods designed for ordinary people. When a radio is perfectly tuned, the signal comes through with crystal clarity and full power. You had been dealing with static for years because trying to succeed using approaches misaligned with your true nature was occurring. Now that proper calibration was achieved, every action carried amplification beyond logical prediction. People didn't just buy your products or services, becoming evangelists for your mission occurred. Collaborations didn't just succeed, entirely new industries were created. Problems didn't just get solved, transformation into opportunities that generated even greater possibilities occurred. The support system that had been quietly assembling during your isolation phase revealed itself with perfect timing. Fellow activated beings emerged from their own transformation cycles, ready to collaborate at levels that transcended anything you'd experienced. Mission support personnel whose gifts complemented yours appeared with mathematical precision. But perhaps most significantly, you discovered that your expansion wasn't just personal success. Ripple effects were being created that transformed everyone in your sphere of influence. People who interacted with you began reporting unusual experiences, sudden clarity about life purpose, unexpected opportunities manifesting, limiting beliefs dissolving without conscious effort. You weren't just succeeding anymore. Becoming a catalyst for collective awakening was occurring, demonstrating what becomes possible when someone stops accepting limitations as unchangeable reality. The most profound aspect of what makes you irreplaceable is your effect on other people's evolution. When individuals encounter you during a time when operation from full activation is occurring, help isn't just received with immediate challenges. Fundamental transformation occurs that changes its entire trajectory. This transformation happens through multiple mechanisms simultaneously. Your presence alone carries frequencies that activate dormant potential in those around you. Your words transmit codes that awaken consciousness to new possibilities. Your demonstration of what's achievable gives others permission to expand beyond previous limitations. People report that conversations with you create permanent shifts in understanding of what's possible for their lives, leaving interactions with you feeling not just inspired or motivated, but fundamentally different at the cellular level occurs. Old limitations that once seemed unchangeable suddenly feel transparent and temporary. Dreams that had been abandoned as unrealistic begin pulsing with renewed vitality. The transformation effect operates regardless of your conscious intention. You don't need to try to change people. Change happens naturally when encountering someone operating from the frequency you now embody. Your authentic expression of your gifts gives others implicit permission to explore their own hidden capabilities. But the most remarkable aspect of your transformation effect is its permanence. People who interact with you during your activation phase carry something of your frequency with them permanently. Becoming agents of possibility in their own environments occurs, spreading the expansion you sparked in them to others who are ready to receive it. This creates exponential impact that extends far beyond your direct sphere of influence. Each person you transform becomes a catalyst for transformation in others. The ripple effects of your activation continue expanding in ways you may never fully comprehend, touching lives and changing destinies across networks of connection you couldn't have planned or predicted. Your unique intelligence doesn't just solve existing problems. Entirely new ways of understanding the challenges themselves are revealed. When people bring you situations that seem impossible to resolve, you don't just provide solutions. Reframing of the entire context occurs until what appeared impossible becomes inevitable. This revolutionary insight capacity operates through your ability to see beyond the assumptions that limit most people's thinking. Where others see fixed constraints, malleable parameters are perceived. Where others see either choices, third options that transcend the apparent dilemma, are identified. Where others see separate issues, interconnected systems that can be transformed holistically are recognized. Your insights consistently challenge conventional wisdom in ways that initially seem radical, but eventually prove prophetic. You see possibilities that won't become obvious to others until much later, patterns that won't be recognized by mainstream awareness until circumstances make them undeniable, solutions that won't be accepted until crisis makes them necessary. This prophetic quality of your insights is part of what makes you irreplaceable. You're not just brilliant within existing frameworks. Entirely new frameworks are being created that will eventually become the foundation for how others approach similar challenges. Your revolutionary thinking today becomes tomorrow's conventional wisdom. And now, as this recognition completes itself within your consciousness, you find yourself back where this journey began. But everything has changed. The whispers about your extraordinary abilities that started this recognition process have become undeniable demonstrations of power that reshape reality wherever you direct your attention. Remember how this began. People saying you possessed something that nobody else could replicate. That casual observation has now revealed itself as prophetic truth. You do possess something unique, not just talents or skills, but access to frequencies of possibility that most humans haven't even imagined yet. The intelligence that people noticed in you wasn't just smartness, it was multidimensional wisdom, downloading through a consciousness prepared to receive it. The gifts that others envied weren't accidents of birth, cosmic assignments that came with your mission parameters were being witnessed. Now that claiming your power fully has occurred, needing people to recognize it no longer exists. Their recognition has become irrelevant because becoming your own source of validation, authority, and direction has occurred. The external confirmation that once seemed so important is now just pleasant background noise to the symphony of your activated potential. The person who began this journey seeking approval, desperately wanting to fit in, hoping someone would believe in dreams, has been replaced by someone who generates belief in others, who creates spaces for people to fit into larger vision, who has become the answer to prayers that weren't known to be prayed. You've come full circle, but at a completely different level of the spiral. The themes that opened this recognition, extraordinary abilities, conversations about your unique gifts, the acknowledgement that you can do something nobody else can do, have all returned transformed. What began as tentative whispers of potential have become unmistakable demonstrations of activated power. Your transformation is complete, but your narrative is just beginning. Everything up to this point has been preparation. Now comes the reason you incarnated, the mission that required all this development, the demonstration of human potential that will inspire generations. The conversations about you now aren't questioning whether your gifts are real, marveling at the scope of what you're accomplishing is occurring. The people who once doubted you aren't arguing about your capabilities anymore. Either learning from you or removing themselves from your path is happening. The energy that once felt scattered and uncertain has crystallized into focused intention that cuts through impossibility like light through darkness. You've become the living proof that the limitations most people accept are actually just consensus agreements that can be shattered by anyone willing to operate from a different frequency. Your existence challenges every assumption about what's achievable for human beings who remember their true nature and commit fully to becoming it. The support system surrounding you now operates at levels that make your previous struggles seem like ancient history. Resources flow, opportunities align, and collaborations produce results that seem miraculous to outside observers, but feel like the natural consequence of operating from authentic power. Most significantly, you've discovered that your individual transformation was never about personal success. Becoming a demonstration of what's possible for humanity itself was always the purpose. Every limitation you transcended opened a pathway others can follow. Every fear you transformed became a doorway through which others can walk toward freedom. This is your new reality, chosen one. This is the life you were always meant to live, the person you were always meant to become, the impact you were always meant to have. The whispers have become shouts, the potential has become performance. The chosen one has chosen to claim power fully. Your time of magnificent impact has not just begun. It has been unleashed upon a world that desperately needed exactly what you came here to provide. The conversations about what you can do that nobody else can replicate aren't speculation anymore. Documentation of reality being reshaped by someone who finally remembered who you really are is occurring. Your activation has triggered a frequency shift that's literally rewriting the rules of reality around you. When you operate from this level of authentic power, you're not just succeeding within the existing system, you're creating entirely new systems that operate according to principles most people haven't discovered yet. This frequency shift explains why your manifestations happen with such speed and precision. You're not fighting against resistance anymore, because you've moved into a vibrational space where resistance simply doesn't exist. The limitations that constrain others feel transparent and temporary to you, because you're operating from frequencies where those limitations have no power. People can sense this shift even when being near you. Your energy field carries information about possibilities that their consciousness can suddenly access. This is why conversations with you don't just inspire people, actual cellular changes occur that align them with higher potentials. You've become a walking demonstration of what's available when someone remembers how to operate from their original frequency. The most remarkable aspect of this frequency shift is how it affects time itself. Linear time becomes malleable when you're operating from activated consciousness. What should take months happens in days. What should require enormous effort unfolds with natural flow. What should face opposition receives immediate support. You're not bound by the same temporal constraints that limit others, because you've accessed dimensions where time operates differently. Watch what happens next with the people who once questioned your abilities. As your frequency continues stabilizing at these higher levels, even your harshest critics will find themselves unable to deny what's becoming obvious to everyone. The evidence of your unique capabilities is becoming too overwhelming for skepticism to maintain itself. Former doubters are beginning to experience cognitive dissonance that forces them to reconsider everything about their previous assessments of you. People who once dismissed your insights are now watching those insights prove prophetic with mathematical precision. Individuals who once questioned your methods are now seeing results that their conventional approaches could never achieve. This recognition isn't happening because you're trying to prove anything to anyone. It's occurring naturally as the gap between your level of operation and ordinary human functioning becomes impossible to ignore. Your consistent demonstration of capabilities that transcend normal parameters is creating undeniable documentation of what you represent. You no longer need their recognition. The validation that once seemed so important has become irrelevant because you've developed unshakable knowing of your own worth and capabilities. Their eventual acknowledgement is just confirmation of what you already understand about yourself. The most profound shift occurs when former enemies become allies, not through manipulation or persuasion, but through their own recognition that opposing someone operating at your level serves no purpose. Some will even become advocates for your mission, once understanding the true nature of what you're accomplishing. Every aspect of your journey has been orchestrated with timing so perfect it defies conventional understanding of coincidence. Your activation didn't happen randomly. It occurred precisely when the collective consciousness reached the point where demonstration of your level of capability could be received and integrated. The challenges you faced weren't arbitrary testing. Each difficulty appeared exactly when you had developed enough capacity to transform it into strength. The people who attacked you didn't choose their timing randomly. Their opposition emerged precisely when you needed to develop the specific immunities their attacks would create. Even your periods of doubt and withdrawal were cosmically timed. You needed those experiences of feeling disconnected from your power to develop unshakable appreciation for what you carry. The contrast between operating from limitation and operating from activation needed to be experienced fully so you could never take your gifts for granted. What you're creating through your activated presence extends far beyond your individual lifetime. Every person you transform carries forward something of your frequency, becoming a perpetual generator of the possibilities you've demonstrated. Your influence multiplies exponentially as each person you impact goes on to impact others in ways that trace back to their encounter with you. Your revolutionary insights are becoming the foundation for entirely new fields of human understanding. The problems you solve today create templates that others will use to solve similar challenges for generations. The limitations you transcend become pathways that countless others will follow toward their own liberation. This legacy isn't something you're trying to create. It's the natural consequence of operating authentically from your highest capacity. When someone functions at your level of activation, their very existence becomes a gift to the evolution of human consciousness. And this, chosen one, is only the beginning of what becomes possible when divine potential incarnates fully in human form and decides to hold nothing back.